What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Blunderbuss7 and we are back at y'all with a brand new video, man. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. Y'all see the thumbnail? Y'all see the title? Maybe y'all seen the sneak peek already, but you're gonna find out. So you log into the game and you got next sneak peek already going for the mid-month. So maybe a little on the early side with this one. But they are trying to get to the Guardians of the Galaxy update, so it only makes sense. But upon looking upon this further, I did run across a couple of things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. So let's go ahead and get it. So, March update sneak peek number 5. Greetings, agents. This is CM Fragment of Marvel Future Fight. Superhero who battles evil in her quest for peace and justice has returned. I know some people are gonna think they may be doing some sort of Sharon Rogers centric quest. I don't understand why they would if they did. I know we got the Guardians Epic Quest with some of those characters already in the game when it started and getting a tier 3. Maybe this is how you get Sharon Rogers tier 4 is through an epic quest. I don't know. I'm just saying. So the captain of a new generation. And then check out the new look of her powers of this superhero who uses her lance and shield to protect the world. We will announce more information through the patch details later. So this is the only mid-month sneak peek that we're getting. Let's go ahead and get it, and we'll talk about it some more here in just a second. Let me kill the music right quick, and we'll get this thing started. Alrighty, let's talk about it right quick. I don't have this thing on a loop, but you see she has the tattoo there on her left shoulder. Also the pigtails is very reminiscent of the, let me get it where I can, let me get over here on Twitter where we can get it on a loop. Righty. So this seems to be the let's crank the music back up. This seems to be the new sort of way that they're gonna be doing these tier 4s, because they've been doing this pretty regularly. Doc got a similar sort of thing. Same thing with Craven and all of those guys. So this format right here, with that screen and then just zooming in on the character model, seems to be the probably just a cheap and easy way for them to show us the sneak peek without having to change the background art and all of this stuff every single time. It makes sense, seeing as how the budget for the game probably isn't what it once was. But it's very reminiscent of the Danny Cool artwork that we've been getting leading up to this. So we've known that we're gonna be getting outfits for Sharon and Wave and Luna and Crescent and um, White Fox for a while now. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna get these uniforms. Now we may get them sort of as a mid-month for every month until they're complete. So this month is Sharon, next mid-month maybe Luna, next mid-month maybe Wave or something like that. Is what I'm thinking they may do. Because we did only get the one sneak peek and they gave us the whole patch details later thing. And let's read this right quick. Captain America Sharon Rogers returns with her unwavering determination and unbreakable shield. She's ready to fight for what's right. Join her in the battle for peace and justice today. So drastically different statements here. And this isn't the first time that we've had very different statements from one to the other. They do also mention the lance and the shield here, so like I said, very similar stuff. But the whole quest for peace and justice line may have some people thinking epic quest. But if you think about it, also, that's probably pretty unlikely, because that means that Luna would be getting her own epic quest, Crescent would probably be getting her own epic quest. It would become a redundant thing. And it would probably piss off the player base quite substantially to just, epic quest after epic quest kind of thing. So I hope this isn't the route that they go down, unless all of the characters are included in one singular quest. Then that would make sense. But if they try to do some sort of, we got with the Eternals epic quest, I don't think that's gonna go over as well the second time around. It was unique for the one, then to do it for 5 tier 4 characters, because all of those characters are either awakened or tier 3 already. So that would be the only reason I would see for them to do it. But it depends. It depends on how they do it. Maybe they get creative with it and make it a lot easier for us to cheer for these characters. That would be dope. Dez, what's happening, baby? Welcome back to the channel. Just talking about this whole Sharon Rogers thing, and yeah. So let's go ahead and slide on over into the game. We are on D15 of the D-Day event for the tier 3 selector. So we should be getting the mega tier 2 ticket today. We also have a few more things that we need to get into as well. Actually thought I turned that down already. Jumped right back up. So, if you notice, there is something a little bit different about the favorites list, and that's that I added more characters, and I'm probably going to be snatching a few off, starting with Elektra, and maybe even Drax and MODOK as well. Along with this guy, Kraven the Hunter. Yeah, we can pull Deadpool off of there as well. I'm trying to trim this list down a little bit for characters that either are gonna offer a useful leadership or a useful support. because I need to get some more of those. So, of course, Maker is a good leadership for the Fantastic Four. If they ever get updates, from here until whenever the game ends. Also, we did add Shuri to that list, and we got her gears to 25. So she's probably more than likely going to be my next tier 3, which is also going to push this guy to the back burner just a little bit longer. And it's how he only affects a limited amount of characters, much less so than Shuri affects with her buffs. Also, after that, we were thinking about tier 3 and Ancient One for her leadership, and of course that elemental passive. And then we are gonna have to look and see from there. Proxima is also on that radar heavily, seeing as how she has the support for Black Order members. So quite a few folks in here that I have to get to. Still haven't decided whether or not Thanos is going to be my next tier 4. He's shaping up to be a daggum powerhouse though. But with Sharon Rogers tier 4 incoming, and we all know how ridiculously powerful she is every time she gets an upgrade, she may actually set a new bar for PvE characters. So let's go ahead and we'll do a little bit of story fragment farming, and then we'll jump back into a few other things. Okay, Moon Knight is though. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get it. Yeah, also She-Hulk. Yeah, I definitely got to knock her out as well. I mean, I had enough leads and supports where I could kind of go without the Shuris and the She-Hulks of the world. And then they kind of got an update really at a bad time for me. So yeah, never really was able to get around to it, that whole tier 4 thing, especially with Hulk being the first one. And then you know, he really wasn't that bad after dealing with Jean, but just dealing with not having any mats and not purchasing any of that stuff, and then immediately to go into building somebody that is one of the most expensive characters in the game to build, really put me behind an 8 ball. Well, the good thing is too, if they do all 3 of them at the same time, Crescent, at least Crescent, Io, and Luna. The good thing about that is we would a blast type, a speed type, and a combat type, all in the same update, and we haven't had that like in forever. And really, if that was the update cycle, everything would be way smoother. If we got a blast, say if we got a blast, combat, and speed type hero, and then we got a universal villain, and then the next update we got a speed, a combat, and blast type villain with a universal hero. If that were the update cycle, Like you would never really have to worry about mats as much. At least as far as your books are concerned, you could manage them a lot better. Let's see. I think you should go with She-Hulk because of her lead. Yeah. Luna's always been meta in GBR. Yeah, she was meta in ABX too for a while, but I never built her. Like part of my problem is I'm not really meta chasing. You know what I mean? And that's for the good and the bad, you know? Like that's been the success and detriment of this account, right? Because there's been times that, you know, I've been held back when rewards change and that sort of thing. Um, by not having certain characters that are meta. And then, you know, the flip side to that is I get a little more enjoyment out of the game the way that I play. Because if it's only about chasing the meta, there's gonna become a point in the game where you just get pissed because excuse me. Yeah, there's gonna come a point in the game where you're just gonna get pissed off because of sheer frustration and inability to keep up without spending a ridiculous amount of money. Or on the flip side, if you just go, well, you know, I really want to compete without having to throw my wallet at this thing all the time. So I limited my spending to uniforms that make the character playable. And annual events, right? So I'll participate in the seasonal stuff and all of that whenever that became a thing. I'll participate in a lot of the uniform sales and but yeah, it's not like I'm going out and the most I'm ever really doing is an offer for agents, catch up on crystals if I need to, and a start stash. So for me, it winds up not being that bad. It's like $35 a month. And then I don't get the start stash every single month, and I don't get the offer for agents every single month. There'll usually be at least one uniform out of every update that I get because it's either a must buy or it affects a character in such a way where it's like, you know, it took this character from zero to hero. Rogue's first uniform with the hoodie, right? That or her second uniform. She had that Age of Apocalypse. Yeah, that uniform that made her a beast in PvP and PvE. I was like, that thing's a game changer at the time. So yeah, is it meta anymore? Not really, but I mean, not at all. Okay, let's see what's going on because I think I have another crash. Yep. All right, give me 1 second. At least I know the game audio is working. Okay. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think they're gonna spread them out, bro. I don't think we're getting anybody else outside of Sharon Rogers. Now, this is the other thing too. Now that I think about it, if it's just a single uniform update, right? Maybe we are getting Kang right now for the anniversary. If we are, that's dope. Um, Also, uh, see, but they should at least give Black Panther justice because all his uniforms are shit. Hey, you ain't gonna get no argument here. Got all them shitty ass uniforms. You ain't gonna get no argument here, bro. Not on Black Panther. I mean, you got the missing Black Panther uniform for Shuri, and then you have opportunity for a Black Panther uniform for T'Challa that they completely missed out on. Rip Chad. But yeah. Let's see. Who is Galga in our alliance? He's upgrading too far. He does 2 to 3 characters, level 60 a day. He's not purchasing any uni, and his cards aren't that good. Hey, I don't know. He logs in, he plays, he donates. I put out the call for folks to join. He joined, and he's been playing regularly. So he trying to reach out, but they're not clicking this little tab up here and clicking on alliance. They're not seeing all this conversation. I know exactly what you're talking about because this dude, he's always upgrading. He upgraded Lash. He's upgraded mate. And look, you have different players, right? You have folks that are completionists, right? You want to catch all the Pokemon like Ash Ketchum. You got, competitors, right? People that want to compete at a high level. You got people that just want to come in and casually, chop it up and play the game. So, I'm not knocking him on the style of player that he is or anything like that. It's not like, it would be nice if the alliance was competitive. But to be honest, we don't have enough members to be. So I'm cool with that. Also, I realized that there is a large segment of the community that doesn't really understand how to play the game. So I try to offer an avenue for that with the Alliance. And, for the folks that come in and participate in the conversations and things like that, they're able to. Because a lot of the competitive alliances and stuff, they're not really new player friendly. You know what I mean? They want stacked accounts and all of that stuff. So I try to offer an avenue in that way. And then even some of those alliances, they'll have even the competitive alliances, they'll have a free to play alliance that's ran by probably a member that has more than one account and that sort of thing. I don't got all of that here. I got one account because my life is way too busy to dedicate as much time as this game takes to really play it. And all of the other stuff I got to do, it's like, bro, it's not enough hours in the day. And trust me. So the only thing I can try to do is reach out to him, but he probably clicks that little shine button to let you know where it drops it in the Alliance chat, and he probably doesn't even know that thing exists. He probably has no idea where those messages are going. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's cool. At least he's showing he's playing every day. And good or bad, if you're not playing, he's at the bare minimum, he's getting the login rewards, right? Now it would suck if he did something like use the Mega Tier 2 ticket on Lash. Right? Meanwhile, you would have got it was lucky enough to get some Negasonic or some Professor X bios from the Dimension mission and have enough to unlock him, but you don't know that I might want to use it on him or Namor or somebody like that as opposed to Luke Cage or Iron Fist or somebody like that. Because when you're a fan of the character, you're going to put the most expensive items, and a lot of players don't realize that. Like, the difference in between a Tier 2 ticket and a Mega Tier 2 ticket, a uniform upgrade ticket, and a Mega uniform upgrade ticket, or with the uniform upgrade ticket specifically, that you should only use those on characters that have biometrics that are difficult or impossible to get without either spending money or something like that. Like, anecdotally, it makes a lot more sense to put he doesn't have one, but it makes a lot more sense to put a uniform upgrade ticket on Sam Alexander, on a uniform for him, because his bios are impossible to get without spending money, or Emma. That's a good example that's in the game, right? As opposed to using that Mega uniform ticket on somebody like Hulk, right? Or on Kingo, whose bios you can farm for free all day long. Like new players and casual players and players that don't really follow the game, you're not accustomed to having strategy guides, and because I grew up on shit like that, right? Having a strategy guide for the game. That's how content creators are strategy guides for games. Walking, talking strategy guide. So yeah, we kind of try to fill in that space. Um, let's see, what is it? A physical immunity? Yeah. Let's see, if you're a PvP fan, you should purchase Spidey. He's one shot Gene with level 70 tier 3. The problem is its durability. And who's the best awakened character for new players? Best awakened character. That's a damn good question. Let me give it some thought on that question. Let me give it some thought. There's a lot of awakened characters that I don't have. Yeah, there are a lot of good ones out there, and it depends, right? It's easier breaking them down by what they do, right? Like, I would say still Makari is one of the better DPS for newer players, but then you have the associated costs with getting her, right? So it would have to be somebody that you could obtain without having to go through an epic quest or anything like that. Best awakened character. Yeah, Doc Ock isn't bad right now, bro. You can take him to tier 4. So there's that. He's really, really strong. So yeah, there's definite upside with him. Trying to think, a lot of these guys are tier 3. Like the Lunas and the Modocs and such. You just look at the ones that I have. Wasp isn't, she's not shabby, but her awakening, her transcendence is like her max. Moon Knight is also another really, really strong awakened character, especially since he can get to tier 4. So yeah, that's kind of where I would focus, is awakened characters that are able to get to tier 4. And when you think about it, when you think about it, we really don't, that's not a long list, you know? That's not a long list of characters, of awakened characters that are tier 4 accessible. Most of the tier 4s that we have are tier 3 characters. Carnage is tier 3. Did she get a tier 4? I don't think so. No, she got a tier 3. Okay. But yeah, Carnage is tier 3. Thanos is another one. Uh, Storm is tier 3. Like I can look at this list right here, and it's like, this guy's tier 3. This guy's tier 3 has tier 4. This guy has tier 4. And he's tier 3. This guy, Cap, and all of them guys, Iron Man, Thor. I go down that list. Storm has tier 4 accessible, and she's a tier 3 character, right? But when I get down here to this list of awakened characters, and not just my awakened characters, but you can just go throughout the game. This guy, Transcendence is his max. Same thing with Beast. Same thing with Colossus. Same thing with Juggernaut. Same thing with Captain America, Captain Britain. Same thing with Gambit. Same thing with Angel, and he just got that awakening. Same thing with Mystique, Nightcrawler, Doctor Doom. He has tier 4. You see what I'm saying? It's not it's not necessarily balanced in that way. So I mean, if it was, then it wouldn't be so difficult to kind of pin that down. Personally, off rip, I would go for one of those two characters. If you can think of any other characters that are tier 4 accessible but have a transcendence, like Doc Ock and Moon Knight, those would be the ones that I'd put on the list. Those would be the ones that I put on the list. I mean, that's why I had such a hard time kind of pinning that question down. You know what I mean? It's like, man, let me take a look at this list, because that is an interesting question. Who's the best transcendent character in the game? And it brings in the question, is transcendence losing value because of the lack of tier 4 transcendent characters? I mean, yeah, eventually they'll get a tier 4, but that's assuming the game is still going. You know what I mean? If the game goes on into infinity, then yeah, they'll have a tier 4 eventually, a tier 3 or a transcendence eventually. You got a lot of characters that don't have a transcendence or a tier 3. You have a lot of characters that on the transcendence side that don't necessarily have a tier 4. That balance between transcendent characters and tier 3 characters that have tier 4 accessibility is very different. So it's a lot easier to say, well, which tier 3 should I build first as a new player? And you have a lot more options, right? So when you have options, it's like, okay, well, what you want to do? PvP, PvE? And it's pretty much a no-brainer at this point. It's like, who's the best character to build? Jean. Who's probably gonna be the best character to build for new players like right now is gonna be Sharon Rogers. I can guarantee that. She's been strong every time they give her a uniform. So if you don't have Sharon tier 3, I'd go ahead and start on it. And simultaneously, if you don't have Wave and Luna Snow unlocked, I would go ahead and start working on unlocking them, starting with not Wave. Not Luna Snow. If you don't have Wave and White Fox unlocked, I would go ahead and start unlocking both of them through the heroic quest, and I would start with White Fox. I know it's kind of a big bullet to bite as far as crystals are concerned, but this whole outfit with Sharon thing, yeah, this whole outfit with Sharon thing, it really has me, wondering. And that's that outfit. That's why I brought up the tattoo on the shoulder. Um, she also has the little corset with the collar. Um, really couldn't see if her leg said Poseidon 4 on it or not on the stocking, but she does have the ponytails. So yeah, really nice model rendering. Um, and of course we got these uniforms already. So, and it's another Danny Cool artwork that came out before we got the uniforms. I think the only uniform that was in the game at this point was Sunbird, and then we of course got Blue Dragon, and then was followed later on with this uniform for Shadow Shell, and then this one for White Tiger. I mean, White Tiger, War Tiger. I'm sorry. So, kind of begs the question, because this is a similar sort of get up. We're gonna get the rest of these guys, and that would be a dope outfit for Crescent in particular. But yeah, I really want to see it. I want to see all 5 of these looks in some way, shape, or form in the game. So we are definitely gonna have to stay tuned and see what's what. For this update, I mean, it could be that, because we don't always get a look at the outfits that are coming in the update. Sometimes they'll keep some stuff hidden, and then the update will come and it's like, whoa, I thought we was only getting 1 uniform. We're getting 3 uniforms. And then sometimes they'll do the whole, like how they did with Ant-Man and the Wasp, and give us a look at 2 outfits at once. So yeah. This could also spell that the update itself for the anniversary, for the what everybody is assuming is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 update, is going to be huge. Because basically, if all we get is the Sharon Rogers uniform, that means that they're taking whatever resources that they have left and they're throwing them at the 8-year anniversary. Because the April update, we got some banger uniforms, but I believe it was just 1 sneak peek, and the sneak peek was dope. And then the update before that really didn't go over that well. A lot of the updates this year really haven't gone over very well at first. Especially all of the back to basics stuff and characters that have gotten uniforms for years, continuing that trend. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to call that one though. Who's the best awakened character for new players? Right now, I would probably say it's Doc Ock, hands down. Just because he can go tier 4 and he's so strong. The upside there is really high. Um, and then of course after that would be Moon Knight. But after that, like you're talking about falling off a cliff sort of thing. In terms of DPS, right? Now, in terms of just supportability, you have some really good supportability awakened characters that you could focus on. So you could definitely go that route. You could definitely go the route of, building somebody like Wave, who's an awakened character that has a really good lead and a really good support. So you got Beast with his leadership and being able to augment the damage of your Hulk if you decide to take him into any sort of PvE content. Who else you got down here? If you decide to spend the crystals to unlock her, you have access at a Mystique. Another really good support. You also have Valkyrie and Sif. So yeah, you got action. You also have, if you decide to build any of the Eternals, you have Cersei with her support ability for them. More of a niche support ability. Older DPS, but still really strong. You got Supergiant, but because she's a double cost or time and a half cost native tier 2, I really don't recommend her for new players like that. Yeah, she can get some world boss done for you. She's not gonna be able to do GBR Dormammu though. So, at this point, there was a time in the game when she was a top DPS, but at this point, she's more of a vanity project. Still really good DPS, but there are so many more better options that I really can't recommend wasting the time and the resources. The same thing with this guy. And that's where the levels come in at, that you kind of have to know. Now, if you're at a point where you have all of your clears out of the way, fine, work on who you want to. If you can do 5 world boss clears, you can get your 2 to 3 GBR runs in order to get all of your materials from that. And you're able to do alliance battle at a decent clip, enough to at least get your materials for awakening characters and stuff like that, or at the very minimum all of your maximum rewards, right? If you can at least do that, but at the bare minimum you can't do that. If you can at least get your awakening crystals and your all of that out of there, your Mandalay gems, that sort of thing, you'll be in a position to where you can at least build these characters, right? To get your support abilities and that sort of thing. So Colossus is another good one. Difficult to attain character, but a really good support for PvP. So, there are options, right? There are options. But it seems as though they've been really valuing the tier 3 class of characters in terms of giving them a tier 4. So, Moon Knight, Doc Ock, and then after that support characters, and then I wouldn't really worry about any awakened characters until they start giving us more tier 4s on that side of the room. or just focus on building tier 3 characters, specifically leaderships, DPS, and supports for different game modes. And then, like I said, once you get your 5 to 10 world boss clears a day, where you can at least clear the content at the bare minimum. I'm not saying climbing or pushing world boss to 99 or anything like that. I'm just saying being able to clear level 1 5 times a day. Because if you can do that, then at least you'll get your materials. As you start climbing, you're gonna need a roster, because they're gonna start locking characters out and that sort of thing, and so you won't be able to use any females. That's a problem. The real problem is you start climbing World Boss Legend, because for those stages there aren't a lot of male support types. There just aren't. That's why I've been waiting for him to give a uniform, the ancient one that turns him back into a guy. Because then you'd have that flexibility. That's kind of what I thought they were going to do with the last outfit, but they didn't. But yeah, can you imagine though, if that does wind up being an epic quest for Gene? Like, bro, people are probably gonna lose their shit. And it also means they would have spent time developing an epic quest for a tier 4 character. I mean, I don't know, man. That could be a good thing and a bad thing all wrapped up in one nice little bundle. Because the question then becomes, how do you make that content accessible for vast majority of players, right? Not just people that have all the characters. And they got to be careful if they do it. If they pull the trigger on the epic quest, they kind of got to be careful. I think those resources would be much better spent in just giving us Kang and mean, if there's a way to farm tier 4 mats that comes from that, like regularly, then it could be dope. If they give us some stages where we can get in there and we can just auto run and get some tier 4 mats out of there, specifically Soul of the Foul Team. You know, don't be trying to give us no carbonadium in there since it's guaranteed out of there, because we get enough of that stuff from GBR, from World Boss. Or you can make one carbonadium and one Soul of the Foul Team, since the life seed is guaranteed. Or is it the life seed? Is it the carbonadium that's guaranteed and the life seed is RNG? Whichever one is RNG, and then the Soul of the Foul Team. And then instead of I guess they could make it where you'd have to have certain characters already tier 3 in order to unlock her tier 4. And that would suck, because then that means a lot of people would have her already, and then a lot of people wouldn't. Even if they did the same thing with like getting them to tier 4. And what I mean is this. On the epic quest, I'm just sitting here mulling this over in my head. But if you go into any of the older epic quests, in order to unlock the main character, you would have to have the requisite characters down here at the bottom: Beta Ray Bill, Phyla-Vell, Darkhawk, Nova, Richard Rider, Nebula, and Punisher, all at tier 2 in order to get Gladiator at 1 star. Right? And the other epic quest works similarly. The only one that really changed it was this one with the quest pack thing, right? So you had to do these quests individually as opposed to separately. And it was one built upon another, where you would have to buy this pack, this guy, and then buy this pack for her that would unlock I think Kingo got unlocked through this one, and then the other one, Cersei and Icarus, were free, but you still had to purchase, it was like 8,800 crystals. You had to get them both in order to get Athena, and then run hers. So this was like, this thing was ridiculous. It was like 6 individual epic quests packed in, and they sliced it in half, and then they sold each half for 4,400 crystals. That's the easiest way I can explain it, right? So that was a little different than the traditional epic quests, where you would just get in here, you would have to unlock all these characters at tier 2 and then get this guy, right? You know, and the same was true of Jean. And then one of these characters in here, in each one of these older epic quests, were a crystal wall character, right? But it was just the one. In this case, the Crystal Wall character is Magneto. In the Fantastic Four Epic Quest, it was Sue, the Invisible Woman, I do believe. Yeah, in this Epic Quest, it was I want to say it was Nova. Richard Rider was the Crystal Wall character. Yeah, deluxe. Yeah, he was a deluxe character. So, yeah. Now, as far as the tier 4 format, right? It depends on whether you're going to use this format or the older formula, right? I think the older formula would be a lot simpler for the first character coming out, and instead of it being a tier 2 thing, it could be a tier 3 thing. Own these characters at tier 3 in order to unlock. Maybe in order to unlock her potential. Is the way they could play that. And then it would be a matter of which characters is that you're gonna put on that list. For her, it would probably be somebody like Captain America Steve, I would think Sharon Carter would be on that list, but then she doesn't have a tier 3 or an awakened skill. They could be dicks about it and give her an awakened skill with no uniform in this in the mid-month. But you know, that's just another way to piss people off. Like, I don't know. I'm really trying to think through this whole thing, and then again, I could be wrong. This could be all fluff, and it could just be a uniform. Okay, so we got the D12 rewards. Oh, so you got to pick them up there and they expire. Okay, so they changed it. Yeah, that was kind of an asshole-ish move. And to put them over there, and then you got to pick them up in that 24-hour period, in that 24-hour window. So be careful of that with the D-Day rewards. They're going to be in this notice tab, and they're all going to have a expiry of 24 hours. So if you miss it, it's gone. And go over here and make sure I have this Mega Tier 2 ticket in my inventory, and I do. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do our GBR run for the day. At least one of them. All right, let's get it. All right. Already pop off one time. Keep that accumulation up. Well, we just gonna tank that. Ah, should have known. And things are going smoothly. Usually too good to be true. Also, we are getting close to the end of that pre-registration event, so make sure y'all do that so you don't miss out on those rewards. I believe 800 crystals is involved in that. That's not an insignificant amount of crystal. Yeah, they were probably unable to complete that run. Maybe if I'd have got my gene through 20 bars, then yeah. I don't know. That other guy was doing pretty good damage. It might have enough. He might have enough time to do it. He was down to 30 bars, so. Oh, nice. Nice. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey, also, Des, if you need carries through regular GBR, let me know. 'Cause you can still go in there and get your tokens with tier 2 characters. I got plenty of characters that can't do Dormammu, but they can definitely carry you through that. So, oh yeah, we battling. Actually, he got me. Uh, Damn, by about 15, 16%. I messed that up royally. Cost myself a lot of damage. Good, he got in the spot just barely. My guy Hulk with the clutch maneuvers. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Did he get me? Yep, he got me. Oh, only about 3% though. We closed that gap. Yeah, I like that. Closed the hell out of that gap. Yes, sir. Yeah, they in that chest. They're not part of that. So you actually got to run the stage to get some of those characters. So most of which I already have at tier 2. So really not worried about it. Just stop short of that 8th one. I'll pick it up after I burn before the reset in the morning. We'll grab these artifacts. And yeah, we'll jump back in the story as soon as we clean up this inventory. Yep, had a feeling I was getting pretty full. So the value of crit rate and dodge actually went up with the whole diet rage, diet judgment thing. Seeing as how the procs with either dodge or critical rate. The thing is getting it to roll with the right one. Sometimes it will roll. We'll have crit rate as the fixed stat, and it'll roll dodge proc, or vice versa. So that can be problematic. back-to-back damage proc, and then something completely trash. And I am glad that they got rid of that damage files on head. Okay, so I rolled another damage proc. Yeah, I am glad that they got rid of that damage files on head crap. Really should have been something they did years ago. Seeing as how we're starting to get multiple uniforms that are good in different ways for characters, like for instance with Thanos' latest uniform with the PvP and PvE thing, and then to a lesser degree, my guy, the whole Red Goblin, Green Goblin uniforms, both of them being really good. Of course, the Red Goblin uniform is clearly better. They need to go ahead and open up the second obelisk slot and give us access to being able to put more than one obelisk or more than one CTP on a character, similar to how they do with the ISO set, how we can have more than one. I do have, yep, there he is. Yeah, similar to this, right? You can have Overdrive or Power of Angry Hulk. They need to do something similar here, where we can either roll with the damage proc or Diet Rage, depending on the uniform that the character is in. Loki is a prime example of that, with the TVA Loki suit and the President Loki suit, one being more proc friendly and one you're having to run a rage with. So, you know, I think that could be another avenue for them to go. But we will just have to wait and see. But this whole Sharon Rogers thing, and it just being one uniform for the mid-month, I don't think it's completely unheard of. I think we've had mid-months like that, but then they usually bring some game mode changes or something like that down the pipe with them. So we're gonna have to wait and see for the patch notes. You know, we should get maybe some kind of promotional video tomorrow, and then patch notes Sunday night. Patches usually drop on Tuesday. We may not get anything tomorrow, and then the promotional video Sunday, patch notes Monday, and then the update sometime Tuesday. So that's what it looks to be lining up to be. That would put the update around the 18th. Who knows? They could be a little early because they're trying to get everything in place for the Guardians update. So, and the anniversary. So that could also be a thing. So we could wind up getting the update on a Monday instead of a Tuesday. Um, like I said, that would put it a day early. Movie is scheduled for May 5th. Is the release date, so then that would give them 1-2 weeks, and then I guess from either the 28th, sometime between the 28th and the 30th would be all of the lead up, which means we'll probably be getting our update either on the 2nd or on the 9th. But I doubt they wait until after the movie drops to give us the update. So yeah, this is falling right in line with that 2-week window in between updates. So either way, at the very latest, the 18th should be when we're getting that rolling patch for the Sharon Rogers update. Now they haven't announced whether or not it's gonna be a rolling patch. Usually it is. If they announce that this thing is gonna be a if they announce that they're gonna shut this thing down, then I would imagine that it's gonna be some game mode changes and all of that. We should have the patch notes by then, so Portly Ghost, welcome to the channel, bro. Hoping to Adam Warlock in the rework. Yeah, for Guardians, yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people are saying too soon, but when they, is it really, you know? Because when they introduced Tier 4, that shook the meta, like completely up. And PvP remained immune to it for the longest time, but then we started getting stronger Tier 3s like Gore. We started getting Tier 4 Hulk, Tier 4 Carnage. You know, by the end it was like, is there any really place for Adam over there? So he's gonna kind of be in a similar boat to Thanos in regards to he's gonna have 2 uniforms that are really strong. Now, if they make this new uniform more PvE centric, and then he's still able to do PvP with the old uniform, that would be dope. But like I said, if they do that, and this is kind of gonna be the thing going forward, is for characters to have 2 uniforms that are really good, because their old uniform is still really good. They just got pushed out of the meta due to Tier 4 kind of thing. They're gonna have to unlock that second obelisk slot. And let us get that ability. Get that flexibility. Same way they do with the ISO sets, same way they do with the cards now. Go ahead and give it to us with Obelisk, man. That should have been the first thing they did, to be honest with you, long before cards. They should have gave us some access with the Obelisk. I mean, look at Emma. You can build this chick two ways. She's good with one uniform. If I don't have a lot of tier 3s, I may want to heavily invest in this character and spend another, 200 or 300 crystals to unlock that slot and give her a second CTP. Or I may just be a huge Emma fan and I want to use her in everything. And her kit is capable to do it, And you could even argue that some characters could run 3 different obelisks. Look at somebody like Jean. You may want to take her into PvP and run her with a greed or a regen. You may be heavily focused on PvP and that takes up 2 of your slots and you still want to run her in PvE. So you still need a 3rd slot for a rage. Or you may be really heavily PvE centric. So you want to run her with a rage and a judgment. And then the 3rd slot, you're running either a greed or a regen. And the argument could be made because they give you 3 slots for the ISO set. So the argument could be made that that should be a thing. It's already here. So yeah. And I don't think the crystal costs increase. Yeah, 200 crystals. 100 crystals. So it's 100 crystals for the first and it's 200 crystals for the second. They could do something like that. Yeah, they could definitely get away with something like that. So, I mean, yeah. Just, I don't know what that is. So, Adam could get really strong. They give tier 4 to Star-Lord. He could be really strong in his old uniform and his new uniform, although I think the difference in between his jump from uniform to uniform and Warlocks would be a lot less different. It depends on how they fix up the kits, but you know. just because Star-Lord's uniform is so much older. Same would be true of Gamora if she got a new uniform, you know? Especially if she got a uniform that changed her from like a speed to a combat type or something like that. Because I think both her and Nebula have both changed typings before, between speed and combat. No, Nebula has. I don't think Gamora has. So if she does, then that would be dope. Also got the opportunity for another uniform for Drax. And I don't think he's gonna get a tier 4. You know, Manus should be a 0 to hero kind of thing because this is our first uniform. And then Groot and Rocket, I think, could be kind of interesting. You know, it could be a situation of more so with Rocket, I think, than Groot. Yes, they still need uniforms, but I think if you have any other older uniforms and you decide to awaken the character, I think they'll be useful. I don't think either one of them have an awakened. What am I doing? There we go. Much better. I don't think either one of them has an awakened skill. But yeah, Sharon Rogers, she's gonna come in and she's just gonna absolutely destroy our idea of what we think damage is. If her track record remains true to what we've come to expect of a Sharon Rogers update, and especially her getting access to tier 4, oh man, she's gonna redefine what we think of damage. It's just that simple. And I expect her to be proc friendly. All the rest of her uniforms have been, so that's gonna scream either mighty destruction or energy. Now they could make her a completely different playstyle. One of the interesting things that they could do with Sharon Rogers is change her damage accumulation from damage taken to damage dealt. I think that would be a drastic change for her because you wouldn't have to stand there and get hit. you could just instantly cancel and go into your skills if the kit allows for it. So I think that would be an interesting play for them to make. It would be a small tweak, but it would be a meaningful tweak. Um, you can expect for them to increase her damage accumulation numbers and all of that sort of thing. What they give her for a tier 4 skill, I think a lot of people are going to have their eye on that. Her damage is also such that if they decided to switch her completely to go PvP, which I don't know how the community will feel about that little idea. But if they made that flip and open up the second obelisk slot and all of that old stuff, but say they decided to make that change, and the tier 4 still made her latest uniform that she has access to now viable, I think there's something to be said there. Like if she's able to do GB or Dormammu and tier 4 content at a high clip, in an old uniform, that would, I don't know. I mean, with Sharon, I expect for them to stick to tradition. So, that's kind of me thinking way outside the box. Another interesting thing that they could do for her is giving her something like, outside of giving her something that's new, that we've never seen before in the game, and I completely expect them to do that with Sharon Rogers. And whatever it is probably going to be stupid and broken. They could do something like thick chain hit on her uniform, or something like that. Pierce, maybe both. With Thanos, they did the ignore damage to boss types, so that's the new thing. I was thinking something like super crit. But if they went with the ignore damage to boss types, maybe both. Ignore damage to boss types with super crit. That would be broken. And changing her damage accumulation from damage taken to damage dealt. With a sprinkling of smatterings of pierce or chain hit. That would completely redefine damage. I could see them like going on the kitchen sink at her completely. And because Sharon Rogers is not elemental and Luna is, there would be some separation there. From the rage and judgment and the energy thing. As far as Wave and Crescent and Io are concerned, I mean not Crescent and Io, Wave and White Fox as far as they're concerned, they're probably going to stick to the support and leadership um, thing, and they'll probably be broken for that. They'll also be getting artifacts for the first time, so that's another thing to look out for, and what's going to be on them, especially for the support characters. Um, all of the DPS types, Luna and Sharon for sure. I don't look for their artifacts to be too fancy. With Crescent, she kind of falls into that. I don't know what they're gonna do with her category. Yes, she has the physical leadership. That's all she has. So, and they're just much better leads in the game. So it kind of begs the question, where are they gonna stick her? You know. I mean, the last uniform made her decent, but that's as far as it went. And then, of course, Io's still a liability, so kind of interesting to see where they're gonna go with this whole thing. So, yep, keep an eye out for additional content coming from the channel. We're gonna be doing pool for story fragments to see what we can get as far as CTPs and premium cards and that sort of thing. And we'll also be doing a separate video where we'll be doing the artifact chest. We're getting close to that 10,000 mark again. I think by the time we get around 7,000, we should be close enough where we'll be able to get it on recycles, on dismantling, and that sort of thing. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be doing the mid-month, and then a couple of tier 3 videos and live streams and that sort of thing. And definitely for Shuri, she's coming down the pipes fairly quickly. And then we'll see where we're at as far as the next Awakened character that we're going to work on. And those are probably going to come before Fragment Pool and that sort of thing. They'll come in that 2-week interim between the mid-month and the anniversary. And then after the anniversary, we'll be doing the story fragment pools and, of course, the Celestial Essence artifact pool. So I guess that would be early next month for those. And then wrapping up the month, of course, with some tier 4 stuff and leading into the anniversary. And you know, that's kind of interesting with the whole, what we were talking about earlier with this whole quest for peace thing that they're talking about here. Right? And maybe this being an epic quest, because they really don't use this wording very much. They also didn't capitalize quests, so that's interesting. So yeah, maybe it could be an epic quest to make Sharon Rogers tier 4 in some kind of way, similar to how they did with Star-Lord specifically, because that's the other reason there is precedent for this, right? You have to build Star-Lord tier 3 through the epic quest. So yeah. You know, there is precedent for that, so maybe that's what's going on here. So interesting wording. Have to see how they're gonna set it up. Like I said, the fact that this is the only sneak peek that we're getting, and it only features Sharon Rogers tier 4. I don't know. None of the other characters that you would think are going to be associated with her have an awakening or a tier 3, unless we're talking Nick Fury tier 3 or one of those other characters like that, which would also be dope, by the way. Yeah, we can run that. So just gotta wait and see what is up and what's gonna go down in the next couple of days. Alrighty. You know, the other thing is, it also begs the question, are we going to get this character, Brazilian sorcerer, the conjurer, Nina? So, and who is in the background of this particular photo? This particular drawing here? King the Conqueror. Just saying, folks, maybe Danny Koo was dropping hints at us all along. About him coming sort of close maybe to the anniversary, or even after the anniversary in the mid-month, but in conjunction with this character. And all of this was going on around the time when he was doing these other drawings for, you know, the speed draw for Shadow Shell here, and as well as you know, the wave. And then of course, who do we have here shortly thereafter? Sharon Rogers. And was this December 15th, 2022? And November 17th, 2022. So not that far apart, a month apart. Like, you know, within 2 days. Like, bro, just saying, could be we're gonna get, and that's magic, by the way. But I see this, if they do this is gonna be probably a seasonal uniform, especially since it's a female character, which means money. But this, yeah. So maybe we're getting Nina the Conjurer as another character, as a new character, and in conjunction some kind of way with the release of Kang the Conqueror. That would definitely explain the delay to a degree. I don't know. But we'll do a short form video, do some investigating, and talk about it this some more, because I think this is something that's gonna be kind of interesting. You know, go take a little trip down memory lane. You know, the short-term memory lane, so to speak. You know, the street with no outlet. No outlet boulevard. I know your road boulevard. Not Jabroni Drive, and I have no idea the location of the Smackdown Hotel. Okay. But we are just over the second hour in the stream. So we're gonna make this the last run. And this has a guaranteed frag. And y'all like, comment, share, sub. Let me know what y'all think as far as what's going down with this whole Luna Snow, or not Luna Snow, this whole Sharon Rogers update. Her getting a tier 4. If it's gonna be one uniform or maybe more than one, maybe some game mode changes or whatnot. And especially with the Conjurer and the Kang photo and the timing of all of that, or a drawing and the timing of all of that, with and the way that we've been getting these characters by and large. Pull out this elemental damage, and yeah, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. strong.